My name's Jeremy Lauren, and I'm the president and CEO of Venture Lab, which is the York Regional Innovation Center. I want to welcome you all this morning to what's, I'll say, my favorite part of, one of my favorite parts of Discovery. I really enjoy this competition every year, so I was very thankful when they asked me to come and do the introductory remarks. Before we go any further, I want to acknowledge the generous support of OMERS, the sponsors of this presentation theater. Without their generous support, it would not be possible to stage Discovery and this great event. Our entrepreneurs only have a few minutes to sell their great ideas to our panel of finance experts. Our aspiring and talented entrepreneurs believe they have what it takes to impress our mythical investor traveling in an elevator with them. Have any of you actually ever done this? I don't know. Would they gain the necessary funding and support to take their aspirations to the next level? Or would they get another shot to do this again another time? That's what this is all about. So I'd like to introduce our panel of judges. Our first judge is Colin Kelleher, president of Kelleher Financial Inc. Colin Kelleher is a corporate executive with more than 28 years' experience at the senior level in both privately held and publicly traded companies, including Kelleher Group and the Altus Group. In 2004-2005, Colin was pivotal in the merger of these two entities, plus one other company in one of the most complex public real estate deals in Canada. As co-lead, Colin planned, directed, and managed the merger, transforming 3 separate real estate consulting boutiques into a single largest, most comprehensive real estate consulting firm in North America with over 300 staff. Colin retired from Altus Group in April 2008 and embarked on a new phase of his career dedicated to the funding and development of Cleantech companies. So Colin, welcome. Our next judge is Jane Jantzi, Director of Business Development at Deloitte. Jane is Deloitte's Director of Business Development for Southwestern Ontario. And in this role, Jane works within the technology, media, and telecommunications sectors and focuses on adding value to TMT companies through creative financial service strategies. Prior to Deloitte, Jane was the driving force behind Communitech's promotional advocacy and government relations initiatives. So thank you for joining us, Jane. Our next judge is Jean-Claude Gavrel. Jean-Claude is currently Associate Vice President of the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council of Canada and has been the Director of the Networks of Centres of Excellence, the NCE, Secretariat since 2000. Under his leadership, the NCE has expanded and launched several successful programs promoting Canadian R&D and innovation, including the Centres of Excellence for Commercialization and Research, the business-led network centers of excellence, and the industrial research and development internships. Welcome, Jean-Claude. And our next judge is Andrew Abouchar. He is the founder and partner of Tech Capital Partners, where he focuses on investment opportunities in the enterprise software systems, semiconductor, and clean tech sectors. While working for a number of years in Toronto-based Working Ventures Canadian Fund, excuse me, Andrew, acquired by GrowthWorks. Andrew created Waterloo Ventures, the first community small business investment fund to launch in Ontario in 2001. Andrew partnered with Tim Jackson to create Tech Capital Partners, a venture capital firm focused on early stage technology businesses. So welcome, Andrew. And our final judge is Barbara Wilkes. Barbara is an experienced business executive with operational, strategic finance, and marketing experience in several industries, including service, manufacturing, and retail. In her role as president of Management Initiatives, Inc., the company provides support to private companies facing the challenges of managing and financing strong growth. Barbara works with angel investors to finance and support companies that own leading-edge new technologies. Barbara began her professional career with PricewaterhouseCoopers and over the years has taken on several full-time senior-level executive positions, including VP Marketing for Hunter Energy and Technologies, Inc., as well as president of Kettle Creek Clothing. Welcome, Barbara, and thank you to our judges for joining us this afternoon. With that, I'd like to welcome Nicholas. Nicholas, if you could take the stage. Thank you.
Come on, come on, come on. How many cups of coffee you had? Good morning, everybody. You got to get these. We got some really smart entrepreneurs here who really want to have an enthusiastic audience because they are passionate about what they do. I always think there's a definitional issue around a lot of this stuff, and just want to clarify a few things up front. Elevator pitch is not a farming technique. It's not a Scottish sport. It's here to let you know that they know how to commercialize what they're doing. And they've got a $1 billion opportunity, as we heard yesterday at lunch. And our judges are going to poke and prod around that. And it's a 5-minute pitch with a 3-minute deconstruction, Q&A. So we've got some really interesting companies here. I think without further ado, I'm going to invite Ivan to come up here. Ivan, you've got 5 minutes to get us rocking. And jokes are allowed. You get an extra 30 seconds.
Perfect. Great. So, again, my name is Ivan Weisblut. I'd like to introduce you to an opportunity called ScarX. So ScarX is developing the world's first prescription anti-scarring cream. The cream is being developed as a treatment for the prevention and reduction of dermal scarring, or skin scarring. The cream will be used following surgery, more specifically, plastic and reconstructive surgery. It doesn't matter what skin color, sex, age. We know, it's well documented, that 60% of all patients are unhappy with the scar that results from their surgery. Based on the cost of about $300 per treatment, the anti-scarring market for this defined patient population in North America alone is $1.5 billion. Like I said, there is nothing out there. There is no clinically proven anti-scarring therapeutic out there. In other words, patients, doctors have no solution. The technology has been developed by Dr. Benjamin Allman. He's the senior scientist and head of orthopedic surgery at the Hospital for Sick Children. Ben has spent the last 15 years studying the molecular mechanism of scarring, and was the first to discover the important role of a protein called beta-catenin in scarring. For the past 3 years, Ben has tested thousands of drugs to identify a drug that's able to inhibit this protein called beta-catenin. It is these efforts that led to the discovery of a molecule or a drug called nifopam. It turns out actually that we know quite a bit about this drug. In fact, it's been prescribed in Europe for the past 25 years as a mild painkiller. The extensive human use over the past 25 years means that we know it's safe and we know it's well tolerated. Our latest efforts have been around manufacturing creams and gels that contain nifopam for testing. We've tested several concentrations, regimens, and have a solid animal data demonstrating that a 1% nifopam cream applied twice daily for 2 weeks results in scar size 40% smaller, which, by the way, is exactly the same protocol or regimen that we plan on putting forward in the clinical trials. So given the large market, you would think that there would be a number of competitors, or several competitors. This is not the case. We've identified only 7 companies developing anti-scarring therapeutics. What's important, though, is that all 7 companies are developing what's called biologics. Biologics are DNA, RNA, or protein-based therapeutics. The drawback with developing a biologic for anti-scarring is that it means that it requires injection. For instance, a company called Renovo, a UK-based competitor, is developing a treatment where you would have to get injections along the entire length of the scar on both sides, and then 24 hours following that, you would have to come back to the clinic and get another series of injections. On the other hand, we're developing a self-applied cream, no nurses, no doctors. The patient simply applies the cream for 2 weeks, and that's it. The other major advantage of developing a small molecule like nifopam is cost. The amount of nifopam that would be required for a treatment of a nifopam cream is about $1. A biologic, on the other hand, would cost anywhere between $100 to $300 for that same treatment. In summary, ScarX is developing a multi-billion-dollar untapped market. We know nifopam is safe, and we have animal data to show that it works. The data has been put in front of several granting committees, and over the past year, we've attracted over $400,000 in grant funding, of which we still have $300,000 in the bank, so we've been very efficient with our money. We're looking to raise $1 million to complete preclinical studies and enter human clinical trials. Fundraising efforts have already resulted in a firm investment commitment from Mars Innovation for $300,000. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much. Who would like to go first on the panel of judges? Anybody ready to rip? Jane.
So Ivan, thank you for your presentation. You talked about the cost being $1 versus $300 from some of the competition. Can you tell me a little bit more about the margins that you think you're going to be charging and where you're going to make it up in the market?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's, based on other competitors and what they've actually publicly announced, what they're thinking their pricing of their treatment would be, is anywhere between $300 to $500 per treatment. Now, one needs to consider the price of the surgery as well. We're talking about patients that are spending anywhere between $5,000 to $25,000 for a variety of surgeries. So $300 to $500 a treatment is reasonable, I would.
One more.
One more question. Is this considered cosmetic, or is this out of their personal pockets, the patients?
So you can view it as a cosmetic product. However, it's a prescription product. So only a doctor could provide this to you. However, you need to consider that there's a lot of different types of patients that would benefit from an anti-scarring treatment.
Okay, so the reason for that question is it covered by insurance plans or OHIP?
Right, so our current business model doesn't assume any insurance coverage. So for plastic surgery, for instance, it's completely patient out-of-pocket cost, and so we're expecting that a $300, $400 incremental add-on is really the target population we're going after.
Okay, somebody else want to come in?
Yeah, I got. So
Yep.
the tech guy who doesn't know anything about life sciences, I'm riding the subway and I see an ad for, heal my scar, make my scar go
Sure.
away. Perhaps you and the photographs in the picture, I gotta say, they look pretty good. So, how about if you share your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, right. So everybody's seen it. You go on the internet, you can see vitamin E cream, silicone gels, whatever. So none of these things are actually clinically proven. So no doctor would actually tell you to go buy this. So the real driving force here is that you're going in for surgery that's costing you an arm and a leg. And I would say that guaranteed, the number one thing on your mind walking out of that surgical clinic is, what is my scar going to look like? And you're not going to put vitamin E cream, you're going to put a prescription therapeutic on it.
Any 2-second question with a 2-second answer?
How much funding do you need in total, and how long is it going to take you to bring it to market past clinical trials?
So the entire development pathway is approximately 7 years, and anywhere between $50 to $75 million.
Super. Ivan, thanks very, very much. Well done. Thank you. So without special fanfare, we invite Christopher to come up and tell us about Fanfare Jobs.
Thank you. So my name is Christopher Allain, and I'm the CEO of Fanfare Jobs. Fanfare is a globally applicable employment network for the student labor market. what we're doing is collaborating with schools to provide a centralized forum through which employers can hire their students and recent graduates. The problem we're solving is that the student labor market is extremely fragmented. Employers that are looking to recruit students have to go to each individual school and sometimes each program and major just to advertise their jobs to the students they desire. What's happening is that students aren't getting the experience that they need to launch successful careers, and no school in Canada can currently place all of their students in jobs. What we're finding in the market is that Canada's workforce is 18 million people. Students represent 8% of that workforce. In 2008, 1.2 million students enrolled in a Canadian university, of which 80,000 were required by their program to have some sort of work placement to graduate. The fact is, though, is that all students need some sort of work experience in order to start their career. What we're finding is that Canada and other developed countries, their labor force is aging. In 2009, individuals aged 40 to 64 in Canada represented 70.3% of our labor market, and it's expected that a quarter of them will retire in the next 5 years. What this means for developing countries is the need to identify, assess, and hire students is going to be critical in getting them into the organization and up the ladder quickly. Our solution is simple. Students who are registered or grouped by university or school, program, then major, we connect all of these groups together and provide a centralized forum. An employer can post one job, have it routed out to all the different students at all the different schools, and collect their applications centrally in one convenient location. The value add is that they no longer have to duplicate the process again and again and again. In addition, schools now have an ability to increase their placement rates, which are an important factor on them getting their funding. At the same time, students are now able to get the work experience they need to launch successful careers. How we're going to market is pretty unique, and it depends on the user group. We're getting students on board by integrating with their schools. A school's work placement program, whether it's co-op, internship, or career center, can use our technology to host their co-op and internship program to connect their employers with their students while receiving additional jobs from our employers. At the same time, if they already have technology in place, they can refer their students to our platform. We track their activity and report that back to them. We're also working with campus clubs and groups that represent their students. They're able to hold their events on our platform, and we're able to sell tickets for them and advertise them to specific groups of students. In both cases, students need to be registered members of our platform to use the system. We're also actively engaging students through social media. In 4 months, we've built a following of students from across Canada, 953 of them, all integrating with us on Facebook. To get schools on board, we're going through the professional associations. So we have the Canadian Association for Cooperative Educators and Employers that we're looking to become a member of. Our goal is to position ourselves as a resource to them that requires no additional effort to get additional jobs. We're also using their comprehensive database of contacts in this space to perform direct sales. In terms of employers, we're going through similar professional associations, but we give students on our platform the opportunity to recommend the employers that they're looking to work for. And we aggregate all of this information, hand it off to our sales force, and they approach these employers directly. We've also received interest from an international software development company to use our platform as the infrastructure behind mobile apps that they provide for recruitment firms. If deployed, this means thousands of jobs coming into us from around the world in all different sectors, which would highly help us in getting these students meaningful work experience. We launched a pilot of our technology in February to Canadian business students. In 2 months, we registered 700 students from 26 universities across Canada. We have 35 employers who have posted over 90 jobs. We currently have 4 universities referring students to the platform, and we only approached 5. The results we've seen are 3,000 visits to our site in the first month alone. Each job posting on average saw 200 views. We're currently preparing to expand our employment network across Canada. We're opening it up to all students in all programs and all majors. The goal with this is that this information we can provide to schools in the future in the form of alumni networks and other critical data on students. Thank you so much for the time.
Whoa, excellent. With 8 seconds to go, perfect. So, who'd like to go first, Jean-Claude?
Yeah, thank you very much. A very good presentation. My question refers to how it would be actually used by employers and students in terms of if it grows the way you're expecting it, the numbers will be in thousands on both sides. And and no employer would ever want to sift through 1,000 CVs and whatever else. So what kind of filtering mechanism do you have? That would be the first part of my question.
Great that you asked. So each student on our platform has a profile. All the other sources that exist that offer students some sort of profile aren't relevant to students because it all requires heavy work experience. So we took a project similar to Twitter. We give each student 300 characters to let us know about 3 jobs they've had. From there, we're currently building it to include their academic classes and extracurricular experience. And that would all be logged. Employers can flip through that quickly to identify candidates that they want to read their full CV. We also have filters built in based on the different student profiles. So you can group students by school, program, major, year, GPA. We standardize that all across the schools in Canada. So you're able to narrow it down to the talent that fits your unique profile and view the top 20 or 30 candidates before moving on to other rounds.
Colin, please.
Explain your revenue model.
We make money from schools. We can license the platform to them to host their co-op and internship program. Employers can pay to post jobs across the network. We have different packages. Student associations that sell tickets through the platform, we can take a percentage of the sales. We can white label the job board and sell it to anyone who needs that sort of technology. And then down the road, we're looking to provide alumni networks to these schools based on all the students that go through our platform. Our goal is that with students in Gen Y being less loyal to employers than they've been in the future, we think that their loyalty is going to transition to recruiters. If I help them get their first job in school, their first graduate job, we can grow with them when they're looking for mid-management and senior level jobs.
One more? Coming up. Anybody else got a question?
So you said you had 4 universities signed on. Could you please describe the economics of one of those to us?
Could you be a little more specific?
Yeah, so what did they pay you?
Right now, we made the referral portal free because we're having them distribute our jobs to their students on the campus.
So you think you can license to schools. Right now, that's a hypothesis.
We've got one school right now that's signed on to a 2-year contract, and each of these schools is normally accustomed to paying $5,000 to $7,000 per system.
Okay, so how much did the school that gave you the contract pay you?
Right now, we gave it to them for free because we have the chicken and egg syndrome. But we do have other deals that we're working on and closing.
And how much would you bill it if it was a real situation, if you weren't giving it away as a loss leader?
Right now, we have contracts out there where we're discussing $5,000 to $7,000 per platform.
And how is it being accepted?
Very well. The referral portals, because they provide us access to students, have been accepted like that. I'm closing those in like a week. The bigger ones are pretty easy. Thank you.
All right, Christopher, well done. I don't know whether the value prop would be enhanced by giving out anti-scar cream, but I guess we'll figure that out after the session. Okay, so next one, somebody who I don't think is very patient, ready to get going. Jay from Patient Way.
All right.
Good job.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Jay Lawrence, and I'm from Patient Way. So I have a question for you. Airports have registration check-in kiosks. Why not hospitals? Well, with Patient Way's self-service technology, patients are directly involved with their healthcare scheduling and registration, leading to shorter lineups, lower administrative costs, fewer errors, and improved satisfaction all around. The Patient Way team is obsessed with streamlining healthcare organizations, leveraging self-service technologies. We all know the economic reality of the healthcare system. Any and all efficiencies are welcome. Patient Way's proven success at reducing registration costs by 30%, data errors by 50%, and achieving over 75% utilization is creating quite a buzz in the hospital sector. Building on the experience of banks and airlines, Patient Way is utilizing kiosk, web, and mobile technologies to streamline patient access for healthcare. While our competitors focus on one element of the problem, Patient Way uniquely follows through the patient's journey in the healthcare system, leveraging existing healthcare IT systems thanks to our extensive integration capabilities, and delivers an agile platform for end-to-end patient flow automation. Patient Way delivers much-needed workload reduction, error prevention, and patient experience improvement to the market of 15,000 hospitals in North America, as well as cancer clinics and community health centers. Additionally, through partnerships, we're accessing a market of tens of thousands of medical clinics by delivering the same benefits. Actively going to market, PatientWay is taking a three-pronged approach. First, here in Ontario, our sales team is selling directly to the province's 150 hospitals. Secondly, leveraging our home turf successes, we're establishing partnerships and allies both in Canada and across the US. Thirdly, larger markets such as medical clinics and dental clinics, we're partnering with the dominant players in these segments, efficiently tapping into their existing customer base. The bulk of our revenue is generated through software sales, either a traditional license or a subscription. Additional revenue is generated by reselling kiosk hardware directly and through our partners. Generating revenue today, we're hovering around profitability, and our 2010 revenue target is a profitable $2.5 million. Continuing to grow, we will keep evolving closely with our customers to evolve our products, features, and capabilities. Our future looks bright. Over a dozen hospitals are using PatientWay technology today, including Sunnybrook, Canada's largest hospital, and the Stronach Regional Cancer Centre, which is about an hour north of here. Equally exciting, we're entering into a strategic partnership with the Canadian Medical Association, which represents 60,000 physicians, to integrate our software with their EMR. So again, I ask you, airports have check-in kiosks. Why not hospitals? Well, with PatientWay, they do, right here in Ontario, across Canada, and then around the world. Thank you.
Well, good news, Jay, is you finished a little early.
Yeah.
Bad news, maybe you may get more questions. So, well, who wants to go first here? Anybody got a? Okay, Barbara, please.
I just wondered how much.
Just if I may say so, I think for some of you it might be hard to hear the judges' questions. Yeah, okay, so we need you just to speak up a little bit.
I'll just hold this quite close.
Perfect.
Then. I was just wondering how much money you're looking for.
We just received some financing for BDC, which is going to be financing our immediate growth strategy. And what I intend to do is learn from that activity and determine what's the level of effort for us to really achieve our next level of success. So at this point, we're not looking for any money. However, in probably 6 months from now, I'll have a clear answer to that question.
Coming along here. Go ahead, Jane, and then we can bring...
How are you planning on actually getting into the hospitals? Do you have a distributor that you're using? And the second part of that question is, who's manufacturing the kiosks?
So our experience in Ontario, we understand how to access the Ontario market directly. So we have 2 sales reps positioned on either end of the Ontario market. And we'll do a direct sales activity. However, what we're expecting or intending to do is in a larger geographic area like the United States is identify a partner that has existing relationships with the hospital market. We have one today that has about 60% of the US hospital market that we're working out a relationship with them. So then we would follow a traditional partnership model. The hardware manufacturer that we have is a US-based fabricator that can perform bespoke, very specific production for our requirements.
And the BDC money is...
Can you louder into the mic?
The BDC, I don't think it's on. The BDC money is covering your capital costs on the kiosks?
The hospitals purchase the capital costs. We just have about a 3-month window that we have to finance the purchase.
Okay.
Andrew, you wanted to come in?
I was curious about the kiosks. Stay out of that business. It's horrendous. But I wonder, could you tell us how long it took you to get stuff into Sunnybrook?
Surprisingly fast. They were already going to market for this type of a solution, and just happened that our marketing message received them. They actually knocked on our front door, and the transaction closed in about 2 months.
Nice.
Follow-ons?
And what's your revenue model with Sunnybrook, and what other high-profile hospitals do you have in the hopper?
A typical license sale for a hospital the size of Sunnybrook would be about $150,000 for license and software, and then we have an ongoing maintenance, annual maintenance of about 15% of that. In the case of Sunnybrook, they've only purchased one of several modules, so we do have room for growth as well. With the CMA, where we're reselling,
It's okay, keep going.
With the CMA, where we're reselling our software through their channel, we're actually packaging it as a subscription. So it's a per physician subscription monthly fee.
Super. Jay, congratulations.
One last question.
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah, we got a second or two.
Yeah, EBITDA, on a licensing model, I think is your EBITDA very low at 20%?
That's where I'd like to at least run the company for its initial growth strategy. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Jay. That's excellent. Okay, so we're coming up to halfway through. I think we're doing very well. Next person up is Grant from Jetream. Grant, let her rip.
Thanks very much. My name is Grant Hall. I'm the CEO of Nuvio. Imagine you're anywhere in the world and you're able to use your mobile device to enjoy and view and share every song, every video, every picture, every movie, every TV show you own, no matter how much you have and no matter where it's located. This sleek black box is the Jetream HG mobile media streamer. It's one of the first devices of its type in the world. You simply plug it into your home network, you download the free app from onto your iPad from the App Store, and it goes out and within minutes finds all the media on your home network. So whether it's on your Mac, your PC, your media server, or your NAS, and it streams all that media instantly in real time to your iPad over any 3G or wireless connection. Now, we launched the product at Demo 2011 in California in March. Got a lot of media attention and buzz. We got on USA Today, CNET, Network World, Forbes Magazine, ABC News did a spot. We're currently selling the product in our web store for $200. And for everybody who's interested, there is a 20% discount for a pre-order. We've sold about 300 to date, and we're in beta with the product in about 20 households in the Ottawa market. So the market we're going after is fundamentally the tablet market, so which is, as we all know, experiencing explosive growth. Apple was forecast to do about 3.5 million last year. They blew the doors off, did 50 million iPads. This year forecast 30 to 40 million, and next year 50 million. So that's cumulatively about 100 million iPads in just 2 years. That's our target market for our applications, which equates to about 200 million. After iPad, we'll do iPhone, and then Android, Playbook, other tablets. Our go-to-market strategy is really two distinct channels. Retail, I already talked about, our own web store, but then online web retail like Tiger Direct, Newegg, and Amazon, and finally bricks and mortar, Best Buy, Staples. Our other strategy is OEM or license strategy. So this is approaching manufacturers in adjacent markets like digital media adapters or media servers that already establish brand equity and channels to market. The competition really comes from two sources. There's a software solution and a hardware solution. On the software side, what I call cheap and cheerful apps you download from the App Store, and a piece of software you put on your PC. That allows you to access video when you're on the road, fairly primitive user interface, and it really dedicates your PC to that function. The quality of the experience is really dependent on the power of the PC. The only competitor that we have in the hardware space is the Pogo Plug Video from Cloud Engines. They started off from the file serving side of it and added kind of video to the portfolio of the product. They do a limited number of video formats, and their UI is reasonably primitive as well. Our most significant differentiator is our user interface and experience. We have a beautiful, rich user interface, icon-based, cover art, plot synopsis, with very advanced sorting, filtering, and searching functions to allow you to quickly find your media with a very beautiful presentation. We also bring all your media together in one application. So your movies, your TV shows, your vacation videos, your pictures, and your all in one consistent user interface. The second advantage we have is we have an HD stream engine which can take all your content, no matter what format it's in, and stream it to your iPad in real time, including HD, with the best possible end user experience or video quality. We're manufacturing the product in Ontario. The company is located in Ottawa. We have about 7 employees. We have a very deep management team with about 150 years combined experience in sales, marketing, product development, and product management. We're looking for about $1 million really to fund the go-to-market, since the product is already in the marketplace. The R&D and the development are essentially finished. The money is really devoted to hiring a sales and marketing team in the US and really driving that into the retail channels to really accelerate our growth. Again, anybody who's interested in the product, we do have a website and a web store, so it's www.jetstreamhd.com, and for everybody here, we're offering a 20% discount. So thanks very much.
All right, Grant, excellent. Okay, Andre, do you want to come in? I think you've got a bit of background in this space, or let others?
I actually just have a cautionary note. Whenever I see a product like this, I think of all the products that have been integrated up and down the stack. So if Linksys ever comes calling, hit the bid.
So,
Yep, please, if you want to comment on that, or otherwise we'll move right through.
If Linksys comes calling, what was the last comment?
Sell.
Sell.
Don't try and compete against them, because you will get integrated out so fast you'll make your head spin.
Well, there is some fairly specialized technology involved in the video transcode and actually to do this in real time, but I don't disagree, and that's probably our most likely exit strategy, is we build the market, build the product, and we get acquired by one of those larger players like Netgear, Linksys, or D-Link.
So, being the average profile user, I have an iPad. I get my 14-year-old to download a bunch of stuff onto it before I travel, and that's what I watch, listen to, deal with on airplanes and sitting in airports and whatever. So I know you're gonna. What's the pitch to me as a user? Because that's probably your standard right now. That's your standard user.
Yeah,
that's your standard.
The real value proposition is the content, wherever it is in your home network, whatever type it is, we synchronize automatically, and we stream it in real time to your iPad. So essentially you get access to all that content instantly wherever you are, not just a limited subset. There's no downloading content, there's no file conversion, there's no planning. It's always there wherever you are. So it's really one of convenience and access.
So is it streamed, or is it downloaded to your iPad?
It's streamed in real time.
When you're in the Wi-Fi, your house Wi-Fi, or from the cell site?
Either one. So it works over 3G or Wi-Fi, in or outside your home.
Okay, you're going to get Jane and then Barbara in here. So Jane, go ahead.
So I see in the next little bit you want to take this up to 19 million in sales. How are you going to scale? Are you doing the manufacturing of the box?
No, we outsource the manufacturing, and it's relatively easy to scale the manufacturing. There's lots of component manufacturers who are pretty hungry and can produce the product in tremendous volume and handle all the logistics associated with it. So the real issue is the sales and marketing effort. It's really getting the awareness and getting it as many channels as possible, as quickly as possible, to maximize that growth and that revenue.
Okay, last key question to Barbara.
Are you familiar with Slingbox?
Yeah, we kind of pitch ourselves as the Slingbox for everything else. They do live TV, we do everything else.
What's to stop them from acquiring or developing a similar technology? They've already got the streaming capability.
Streaming, stored content is a little different from broadcast. There's many more different formats, video container types. It's a much more difficult process than actually just streaming a broadcast video signal.
It might be interesting to go to them right now.
Sorry, we're out of time.
Hang on,
Nick,
one last question. What's your standard channel? What would be a typical channel partner for you to get your product out there?
5-second answer.
Yeah, first our store and then web retail are probably the two early focuses. Tiger Direct, Newegg, Amazon.
Sorry,
okay.
Nick.
Sorry, in all fairness, I got to cut you off. Grant, well done. Thanks very much. Congratulations. So, Adrian, ARB or ARB?
Yeah, it's ARB.
ARB. Great. All yours.
Hey, my name is Adrian Bolzatsky, and I'm the founder of a company called ARB Labs. It's a high-tech company, and I'm also a PhD student in electrical and computer engineering. So I'm going to start with one question, and that question is, does anybody know what holds the Guinness Book of World Records as the fastest-selling consumer electronics device in history? Does anybody know? Any guesses? No? Okay, well, the answer is it's the Microsoft Kinect camera, okay? And that brings me to what my product is. In about under 2 months, I'm launching a game, okay? And that game, it's called Charades for Connect, okay? So, all right, you get it. Cool, so the idea is that it's charades, like the charades we've played at a party, and you get a word or a phrase, and it's up to you now to gesture that. You're going to start doing the gestures, and the camera's going to convert you into an avatar. That avatar could be anything. It could be a person. It could be a dragon. It doesn't really matter. It sends that through the network, and your teammates or other people playing the game, they see this, and it's their responsibility to name that gesture. And they're not going to name it by typing it in. They're not going to name it by being given options, multiple choice. What they're going to do is they're just going to do it the way they would normally play this game. And that's yelling out the answer. When they yell out the answer, they get points based on how fast they got that answer correct, okay? And there's 2 diabolical backends to this. One is this is going to be one of the first games available for download on the Xbox Live Marketplace. So we're not releasing this in the stores. We're going right to the Xbox Marketplace, and we're selling it for sub $5 versus $50 for a normal Connect game. But this is the important part. This is the really cool part that separates us from everything else. We have a proprietary crowdsourcing engine, okay? That if I feed it the name of the gesture, and I feed it the start and the end point and the quality of that gesture, okay? And we know the quality because we know how fast people answer that question, okay? This system is able to learn those gestures and create descriptors for all of those gestures, and in turn, we're able to sell those gestures to other companies. We're able to sell it to other game developers. We're able to sell it to marketing companies. Let's say a marketing company needs some kind of ad campaign. They give us a word or phrase. We throw it in the system in about a minute or 2. We spit out a gesture. The way gestures are taught today, the way everybody else on the entire planet does this, is they repeat the same gesture over and over and over again in a controlled lab experiment. And when they do that, the quality tends to be much weaker, because as soon as you exit that environment, as soon as you go to the living room or anywhere else, the quality diminishes substantially. So our gestures are higher quality than anybody else. I could tell you there's a few things. Primarily in the gesture industry, the biggest consumers of this are, let's say, oil companies, universities, automotive industry, and they tend to pay $30,000 to $150,000 for just the hardware to get this to work. In our case, our hardware costs $120, and we're selling the gestures for whatever we want to sell it for. And these gestures are global. So the idea is that we have region coding on every single gesture. We have better quality gestures than anybody else could even conceive. We know that gestures are different. We know that, let's say, this is fishing in some places, and in other places, this is fishing. We're able to connect those two. And that's primarily the business. Within 6 months, we'll be launching another version where you're able to play against the computer. You'll be able to switch roles now. You're trying to come up with gestures that the computer is able to try to guess as fast as possible. So it's a completely new type of marketplace. We're opening a new type of market, and the revenue potential is exponential, because not only are we making revenue off the sale of the game, and we're expecting 10,000 users on the initial launch alone. We also have this back end that nobody else is in that marketplace. Nobody else is competing with us in that other field. And I already have existing clients, and I'm overwhelmed with how many people are trying to buy gestures from me today for this type of purpose. And I'm gonna stop there, and that's my 5 minutes. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Take a breath.
Yeah.
All right, take a breath. Okay, who wants to have a go at this first on our esteemed panel? I think, Jane, you wanted to dig in.
So thanks, Adrian. My question is really around what you're selling, because I thought it was the game, but then I wasn't sure if it was the data and the analysis around that. So,
okay.
And just if it is the data and the analysis and the engine that goes behind that,
yeah.
With a game, when it sells, there's usually a big spike and then nothing. So do you have other games that will follow as well?
Yes. For instance, we actually have several games planned that we could build off of this, because the base code of this game is actually very upgradable. So we have one where you're able to learn sign language through the computer, and that's a whole market right there alone. We've got several different products, but initially we're launching the version of Charades just because there's already a built-in clientele already for that. And I'll tell you, originally we were considering releasing the game for free just to build up the database. But we had a lot of game developers wanting in on this deal, but conditional on us selling this for profit. But they wanted too large of a royalty, and it's okay because there's very little overhead cost for us to get into market. Actually, let me answer one more thing. The idea is that, yes, we're making money off of the game, but the revenue stream is so much greater off of selling the gestures. And nobody does that today, but the game profits will still hold us over. Yeah.
Who wants to come in?
For somebody who's not a 14-year-old here,
okay.
What is a gesture in terms of selling a gesture? I don't understand the concept.
Well, okay, I'll give you one example. Let's say I have a database of aggressive gestures, for example, right? What I could do is I could sell that and turn to an airport, okay? They could put these cameras around there and they see somebody punch somebody in the face, they sound an alarm and send security over there. Let's say a marketing company is trying to hit a particular client base based on, they're looking for some type of particular attitude or some kind of emotion expressed in a public setting. We're able to identify that gesture and let the system flag it right away and identify those clients, for example. But it's also interaction. It's also being able to interact with computers better. So it's a complicated concept, but yeah, I only have a couple of seconds on that. Yeah.
Colin?
You mentioned that you had a deal that you had discussed and the royalty play was too expensive. Explain that to me.
Okay, I've had other game developers approach me. They badly want a piece of this game because they already, off of the charades concept alone, they already see that as enough profit for them, but they want a third of the game royalties. And that, for me, is too much. It's very useful to have a distribution partner, but I'm able to get in through the back door on the Xbox Live Marketplace for Connect, which doesn't exist yet. It will in 2 months. And it's not publicly known that that is available.
Okay, last quick question to Andrew.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
You said that a lot of people want to buy your gestures from
Yes.
you. Could you give us a little more color on that? Can you back that up?
I can tell you, I released a very basic version of just an interaction system of just controlling. My mic is going to get cut off in a second. Anyways, the software was designed for, it's portable to anything, but I quickly ported over to a piece of software that only universities and primarily the oil industry use. Within about a day or two, the company that makes that software was forwarding all of its clients to me, and I was selling the software in Saudi Arabia right away.
That's the gesture. Okay, Adrian, thanks very much. Excellent. So, I wish I could call this Da Vinci, but it's Vinci, and we got John Seco. John, it's all yours. Keep the energy flowing here.
Bit of a tough act to follow there. I won't jump up and down quite so much. This is our product, Vinci. My name is John Seck, actually. I'm with Rollinet Corporation Canada. And Vinci is a mobile touchscreen learning tablet for kids 4 years of age and under. It's a fully functional Android tablet running Android 2.3, and it comes installed with educational games, storybooks, and music videos for kids. Vinci has a very, very unique design. It is made with completely safe medical-grade material, so kids could lick it, they could chew it. It's been drop tested, so they could also drop it, and it's very, very durable. I think it's an interesting product to really hold in your hand, so I think I'd like to give it to the judges to actually touch. So Vinci. The inspiration for Vinci came from our founder, Dan Yang. Dan Yang is a high-tech entrepreneur with a solid track record in photonics. She has a PhD in photonics and has created and sold a number of companies. But she has a young daughter named Hera, and she noticed that Hera was very, very interested in technology at a very, very early age, actually pretty much at the age of 1. She was also very, very drawn to touchscreen technology. Now, so Dan started looking around to see, is there a product that is really, really focused on kids, that offers content that has really, really strong educational value, and that has, really been thought out from a developmental standpoint, and also is a safe product. But I think her real aha moment came much like when the apple fell on Newton's head. her daughter was playing with another competitor's product sitting in her high chair, and Dan just let her attention stray for a second, and her very, very expensive tablet connected with the floor. So she said, you know, really, there should be something better for kids. There should be something that's really focused on them and is created with durability and safety in mind. But really, when she thought about it a bit more, that really wasn't enough, because it is important to think about these devices and things for kids from a safety standpoint. But what was really important for Dan was thinking about parents at an early age. What are we really, you know, if you're a parent of young children, what were you really concerned about? You're really concerned about, is my kid okay? Are they developing at the right rate? You know, so she started thinking about this problem and really looked at the product from a developmental standpoint. And that is really what Vinci is trying to offer parents. It's a one-stop solution that will allow them to track both the development of their kids, record memories of their kids, and you know, record video and photos, make notes, but ultimately allow parents to track the development of their kids. So we're creating applications that will allow parents to focus on their kids' development and track that development as their kids are growing. Now, we have assembled a pretty experienced team. As I said, Dan is a telecom entrepreneur who has started companies and sold them. She's actually funding this product. She's invested $10 million of her own funds to get the product off the ground. And so we are going to launch in the US in July. We are going to have 2,500 units. We're launching through Amazon.com and also on Brookstone. Our US launch will be followed by a launch in China. We've identified a market of about 4 million kids, families in a target demographic that earn incomes of greater than $100,000, because that's really our sweet spot for our market. And in China, it's a little bit harder to pin down the numbers, but we're looking at an opportunity of somewhere in the order of $77 billion. Parents there's 225 million kids who fall into roughly our target demographic. So it's a big opportunity worldwide if we can grab the niche. Really, what we really are intending to do is to win the hearts and minds of parents of young children and become the thought leaders for development and for technology introduction for very, very young kids.
Super. Okay, John, you ready? Yeah. Okay, thanks very much. Everybody had a look at this. I'll give it back.
Thanks.
Who would like to? Jean-Claude.
Yeah, thank you, John. So what's the price of that?
Right, so the unit's going to retail at $479.
Okay. So I have grandchildren. I don't have 14-year-olds, but I have grandchildren of those age, and I've seen them play with computers and tablets from the age about 4, and they haven't dropped them. And I'm wondering, why would somebody buy that at that price? If it was a $50 toy, possibly.
Right. Well, and there are $50 toys in the market, and you know, I have kids as well. When they were young, I bought them those $50 toys, and those $50 toys captured their attention for approximately 5 minutes. So really, what we're really trying to do, it really is the content that we're creating that we're looking as the added value. I think a fully functional Android tablet of this nature is a very, very different thing from, say, the VTech or Leapster products that you're describing. And it is something that we are looking to age with the kids based on the content that we create for them. So it is fundamentally about the content we're going to provide that's going to add the value.
Colin, did you want to?
Yes. My question is somewhat similar to Jean-Claude. And so looking at the device and what's to stop somebody like Apple putting a safety device and doing that and coming out with the iKid?
Right, and you know, I think we have seen already the introduction of cases for iPods that you know, they do represent somewhat of a threat. But you know, again, like if you're going to have a tablet that you're going to take in and out of the case on an ongoing basis, then that does make the case for having a product that is for your child specifically as well.
You've raised $10 million.
It is the founder's personal funds, actually, that she's invested. So she's backing up the idea with her personal
And you're
funding.
you're well capitalized at this point, then.
We are well capitalized at this point, and we are in production for 2,500 units. We'll be launching on Amazon in the U.S. We have a sales team in the U.S. that's pushing out to channels in the U.S., and we'll be on Amazon taking pre-orders in June.
And you're capitalized all the way to market.
Yes.
Well done.
Thanks.
Yeah. Barbara?
I was just curious, feeling the unit, it's fairly heavy, and you had mentioned 1-year-olds and up. Have you actually had a lot of results, sort of field tests on the younger children?
We've done a tremendous amount of focus testing up till now. You cannot work with young kids. You cannot develop any kind of interactive technology without, especially for any market, without actually focus testing. So we've been working with a number of schools and done certainly upwards of 100 kids in terms of focus testing. But it's going to be an ongoing process for us. Really, we're developing an online community, and it's about engaging with parents, developing a dialogue with the parents for what it is that they really want to see and where they want the product to go.
How much does it actually weigh?
It weighs 1.5 pounds now. Okay. So primarily, there are some issues with weight, but it's a trade-off constantly between the weight of the battery, which is and providing sufficient performance for the device.
John, we're out of time. Congratulations, that was a great pitch. Thank you. Okay. I think we're doing really well, folks. We've had 6 awesome pitches so far. 2 more up, and the next one is LifeRadar. Andrew, please come up, and John, apologies for misspelling your last name earlier.
Hey everybody, hello. Hi judges, nice to see you. You guys look really good. My name is Andrew Matlock. I'm here for LifeRadar. My partner is in the audience. Give a wave, Alex. Alex Mazurowitz, here he is. Business partner, that's who we are. LifeRadar is a social, I'll start over. LifeRadar is a smartphone application. It basically facilitates real-life social interactions, and I'll say what that means in a minute. But we started this project asking, is it possible to bring social interactions away from technology and the web and back to reality? So nowadays, my generation spends hours online every day on Facebook and Twitter and the social networks and on job sites. 1 in 5 relationships nowadays is online dating. So we're always a step removed from the people we're actually interacting with. I mean, we call social interactions sitting alone in a room on a computer, and it's kind of a bit sad. And personally, I find it somewhat difficult to talk on the phone sometimes. It's easy to make a status update, but I want to be able to break the ice with someone a lot easier than I know how to. So this is what that app sets out to achieve. It basically is GPS based, so you download the app for free. There's 4 categories of questionnaires. The questionnaires are across friends and clubs, athletics, romance, and careers. So you basically put in your desires in any one of those categories. You activate the GPS, you go out in the world, you forget about it, and then you might get randomly pinged by somebody. So say I'm here at Discovery, say you're at Discovery, you're looking for a programmer, and you want to see any and all programmers that want to apply to you. You get pinged, both your phones get pinged if you're in the same geographical area. You can see each other's profile. There's no pictures, you don't know who it is. You see their profile, you can exchange contact info, you can do their instant messaging, and you can decide to meet if you want. You can also decide to ignore them. There's a lot of safety features built into this thing. So basically you can choose to meet, and that's sort of the exciting thrill factor. So it's almost like everyone out there in the world has a big giant sign on their head saying, this is who I am, this is exactly what I want, can you give it to me? Except you can only see that sign if you yourself are wearing the sign. So it's kind of like this cool little in thing. The competition is pretty thin right now, actually. Really only dating services offer proximity-based finding people. And it's not really the focus of their business because they're all subscription models. So we think we have a huge added benefit by offering jobs and athletics and clubs and friendship. Our target market is students and young people, people who are moving to new cities for schools, people who need jobs, people who are willing to give this thing a shot, people who want to hang out in a bar and get pinged by a romance thing and laugh at their friends and try and figure out who it is and hope they're beautiful and everything. So definitely a youthful marketplace. We've talked to some industry professionals on this, some really great people who I think this can go really far. They've told us to basically apply to a limited geographic location. So we're going to unleash in one city, pour all of our marketing and press into that, because the key ingredient is to have the high adoption rate with smartphone users. So once we can do that, then we'll see where to go from there. What we need in terms of money, it's very, very minimal. We need to build a prototype. That's what everyone tells us. We need the prototype, we need the proof of concept. So we just basically need $10,000 to build this thing. After that, we decide basically where to go from there. So it could be selling to one of the larger existing companies. It could be building the company on our own. Our revenue model is it's in debate right now, but we're basically looking at somewhat advertising, but a lot of promotion. So promotion is a very, very key ingredient to our thingy. Oh, I got a minute left. Okay, good stuff. So promotions. So you say you're walking by a store. If you have promotions activated, you're allowed to receive a sale from that store. So I'm walking by a restaurant. Oh, there's a half lunch off right now. I wouldn't have known otherwise. I walk into the store and that's that. So you pay a one-time fixed fee to promote something, or you can sell a used good for a one-time fixed fee to other people around you. So basically it becomes an online marketplace after we've established a user base. That's about it, I think. That's the revenue model, yeah. So, I mean, it's very, very early stage, a lot smaller than everyone else here. Things they've been talking about. Sorry, I need water now. It's really hot up here. But, yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks, Andrew.
Okay. So, which of our esteemed colleagues wants to have the first go? We'll start immediately. Do you want to go ahead first, Barb? I mean, Jane, sorry.
It's okay. Yeah. Thanks, Andrew. Just want to ask, you said something about it can be activated or not activated. Just want to clarify, I can have it on or off if I'm in a room like this?
Yes, yeah, you can turn on the GPS on or off, and you can also, I sort of was referring to sleep mode, so you can just turn off the app. It's on in the background, but it's not present on your phone.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
Come on in, Jean-Claude.
So thank you. I think this was fun, by the way, and we commented here at the bank here that our generation probably wouldn't use it, but I can see your market. My concern is from a business perspective. You've basically given away all of your idea now, and for $10,000, somebody else can build it.
Yeah.
So where's the business?
The business is it's in the second stage. So once we have the working prototype finished, and once we've tested it and tweaked all the questionnaires, the business is in unleashing the promotional side of things. So basically, once the user base is already established, that's the thing, is that my generation expects everything for free. We don't like paying for anything, and especially not social utilities. We don't pay for Facebook or anything. So once we establish that people can actually use the service to sell their own services within our service, that's when we start taking money. Does that make sense? Can I explain it any better?
Well, the thing is, anybody can develop it.
Yeah.
So I think you're describing a generic business model, but you're not describing how your company is going to make it. What I'm suggesting is by giving away the idea, you've kind of blew your market right away.
Yeah, I mean, there's a threshold where we have to basically go beyond our secrecy and talk to important people like you, important rich people, and and just hope that there aren't many mean people out there. There are mean people, but I mean, we're already fairly advanced along the design phase. My real job is as a video game and television producer, so I have a large infrastructure behind me of development, and so I mean, we can crank this thing out pretty fast.
How long will it take you to develop this?
I would say 2 months.
Follow-ons? Well, the only thing I would say, Andrew, is that if you look at use of social media, it's actually the 65 and up age group that is very thing, and I can see, I'm wondering if you're potentially misplacing your focus on the youth market rather than the geriatric market.
No, that's a very good point, actually, because we have thought a lot about the senior applications to this. And I think seniors have
Could you speak up? No, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the seniors are a very legitimate market for us. It'll come after the students. We think the students is our most solid entry point and anchor point, but there's absolutely the next market after that is seniors, because they can also use that sort of breaking the ice social utility.
You'll have to expand your notion of mobility, though. Okay, any other last questions here before Andrew steps off? Andrew, good job.
Thanks
you very much.
Nobody steal it. It's mine.
Okay, so last but definitely not least, from Maida, I guess it is, or Maid? Maid? I'll let you correct me up on the stage. Oleg, it's all yours.
Hey, so my name is Oleg, and I study architecture, and I'm here with Mobile Aided Design, or as we shortened it, MADE. So earlier this year, I started a company out of a tech and mobile incubator, which is going to change the way that architects and engineers control 3D space. So CAD is a short form for computer-aided design, and it's basically what we use in game design or movie design or any kind of manufacturing where we create something in 3D. And there's actually a really big problem in this industry, which is that you have this incredible program. It can do anything. You can basically do anything you imagine in 3D space, and the entire process is controlled by something with 2 buttons, which is the mouse. And so how an actual user uses this is they have one hand on the keyboard and one hand on the mouse. The keyboard activates all the commands and the mouse controls the camera. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace it with a tablet. So a user will have the tablet right on hand, and it's going to connect through the network, connect to their computer, and it's plugged into the 3D software. So what we're basically doing is balancing the work from the left hand onto the right hand and making it much more intuitive and much quicker to use. So let me go into the design a bit. So of course we have to start by replacing the mouse. So we gave functionality to the mouse. We can control the mouse with one finger, we can click or right click, but that's not really impressive. So we went one step further, and that's giving the actual hand the control of the camera, which is, panning with 2 fingers. You put a 3rd finger down, you're automatically rotating and orbiting, or you pinch to zoom, and that's pretty standard. So then we started getting into interesting things for the product, which is where we can actually double tap on different parts of the tablet and switch from very precise bottom, top view, and side views. And even further, we can actually begin to take some of those commands and put them onto the iPad in a grouping system that I can access any of 32 commands within 2 quick gestures, which utilize muscle memory. So, what's really important about what we're doing is actually not just that this is one tablet to one 3D program. It's actually a suite of 3D programs that we can connect to, along with a suite of tablets. It's the Android devices and others. So these are not cheap programs. They go for, $5,000, $10,000. CATIA, the engineering software used for design of jets, goes for 20, 25 plus. So we're looking at an efficiency gain on something that's so expensive, and the users that use it are actually very well paid. They're like $60,000, $70,000 a year individuals. So any addition to that is great. And we've actually identified over 20 million users just through market research and emailing out to these companies already. And we've gotten our first offer for venture capital, and they have offered to bring in mentors from Autodesk to work with us. So basically, if we accept this now, we have to kind of give up a lot more than we'd like to, because we have a lot of trust that this is going to go really far. We've already been in contact with design directors of firms. I've worked previously in Los Angeles, Moscow, Shanghai, and Toronto. So I'm reaching out to my old bosses, and they're linking me up with their colleagues. And we're actually beginning beta testing in about 2 weeks. And just so you know, the only competitors to this is a hardware solution. There's a $400 mouse that is a single-use device. So basically, we're going to make the iPad the best tool for an architect or engineer to have on hand with him whenever he works. And that's it.
We've got a new concept up here, speed to judging, right? Instead of speed to market. That was quick. Okay, so let's start with you on the left here, Andrew.
I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about revenue model, seeing as you've got a minute, 16 seconds left.
Great. So if you look at just, to start with just 1% of the cost of any of these programs, CATIA 20,000, you're looking at $200 for the app for a very professional use. There's 2 different types of people in the market. There's hobbyists, which use free software. There's like 5 million people on Blender, 2 million on Google SketchUp, things like this. So we can offer a very cheap, like $5 app to the public market to get a lot of attention. And for very specialized, customized users that use CAD for 7-8 hours a day, which is what they do, this will go for a lot more, and it will actually pay off like this. Yeah.
Carrying on around the table. Yep.
Would I be correct in saying that it's a sophisticated smartboard?
Sure. I'm not sure what a smartboard is.
It's an interactive screen that architects use right now to
like the Wacom?
pitch. I don't know, but it's a...
yeah, the Wacom tablet is the one with the pen interface. Is this what you're talking about? Yeah, so the Wacom is majorly used for 2D software like AutoCAD and mostly for drawing, like with Photoshop. I think the Wacom is another one of these hardware things that's going to be on the way out. The iPad is much cheaper and has much more use, so all you have to do is add a pen. I already have one, so I can just create an app on here that does that. Photoshop recently released an SDK, so actually what we can do is take this app and spread it to all the software that I use at work. Yeah.
So how do you, what's the relationship between Autodesk, who dominate the CAD/CAM market, and a startup like yourself?
So because the only software competitors that we really see out there outside of other startups is companies like Autodesk, that it's in their interest to actually create something like this themselves. The difference between us and them is we don't have an allegiance to only their software. Autodesk will never build something for Rhino. They will never build something for Dassault Systèmes, which is a company that owns CATIA and SolidWorks. So by stepping out of that realm, we can actually build something for all the platforms, and whether or not a user sticks to only Autodesk software. For example, a lot of small startup architecture firms use Rhino, which is something I use a lot at work, and they use AutoCAD. So these are two different platforms, so we can give them both to them. Autodesk has about 10 million users. They have a sizable chunk of the market. They're not the biggest player, actually.
Jane, I think you wanted to ask something?
What does your team look like right now?
Right. So I'm about to graduate. Well, I've deferred it for a term because I need time for this. But we have 3 graduate programmers, one that's leaving industry, so jobs about $70,000 a year, that are working full-time. We have an intern that's running social media, and then I have a partner that's a COO, and he also programs. So it's about 4 coders, me, a designer, and 1 intern.
Are you highlighting this right now?
Piloting.
Are you piloting?
Piloting.
Piloting as in testing it on people. Yes, so we've been in contact. We have about 30 users signed up to try the product. They're all professionals, and we're keeping it small until we get positive feedback, then we're going to expand it. We've also been in contact with magazines such as ArcConnect, so they're waiting to see updates, and we'll be able to give them beta tests and let them try it out. There's no one doing this right now.
There is
I'm just going to ask, bring Barbara in here. Thanks.
I was just going to ask how much money you're looking for and over what time frame?
Well, in the big picture or today?
Both.
Okay, in the big picture, we need to expand out to every single platform that an architect would use. So we're looking at like 10 different software platforms. So that will need to pay for employees and things like that. So we're going to be looking to raise another round of financing depending on our valuation later. Right now, what I want to do is I want to get a small amount of money, like the $7,500, so that I have enough confidence when we go to the next, when we go to raise our first round in about a few days, that I don't have to accept an unfair agreement that really devalues us, because in 3 months, like we're just about ready. And so we have to make a decision.
Okay, so thanks. I'm sorry, we're done with you. Oleg, thanks very much. That was great. Well done. I know we have to move through here very quickly, but I'm going to ask each of my judges for like a 1-sentence impression of what they've seen here this morning. I'm putting you on the spot, but I'll give my own impression first, which is, it's phenomenal to see this kind of innovation coming out of Ontario in things, whether creating new marketplaces, virtualizing stuff, bringing stuff to market, enhancing our mobility in one way or another, and of course, enhancing our access to health and how we benefit from the healthcare system. That's pretty interesting and wide-ranging. So folks, one line on what you think you've seen here this morning.
I was really impressed by how much work everyone did on expressing their product really clearly. Amazingly enough, that's usually the fall down of these elevator pitches, but I think all of you guys did a great job.
Super.
I have one piece of advice though. Over the course of my far too long in the venture business, I have discovered that you should never, never, never turn down capital.
Excellent. Jane.
I spend a lot of time traveling up and down the 401 throughout Ontario, and I see a lot of different technologies. I was very impressed with what I saw today. I think that you guys spent a lot of time getting your ideas together and nailing your pitch down, as Andrew said. Very, very impressive, and thanks for coming out.
Super. Jean-Claude?
Andrew really said it when he talked about the product description. It was much better than last year if I compare. I mean, we had a wonderful idea of what you guys were doing. What I really enjoy is the passion that you all put in. That is really wonderful.
Excellent. Colin?
Very impressed with every pitch. The companies, particularly the focus on the competition and where you had each had an edge, which I thought was impressive, and the technical or the highly technical aspects of them very interesting. You know, social media, very aggressive tech plays. So I was very impressed. I would echo Andrew's comments. That's why my question on the royalty play. What is too much to give up to get into a very, very big channel, etc. And be very careful who's passing you out over your left shoulder as you're looking straight ahead, because each of these technologies, in a big competitor with lots of money given time, will be on your back. But very impressive, and congratulations to you all.
Okay, Barbara, last word to you. We cut you off?
I think now we've got it. I was very impressed with the presentations, and particularly the diversity of the markets that we're addressing here. I think it's tremendous for the province, and there's as we're going through, I'm sort of listening, thinking, who can I refer you to? So it's really, really great. Congratulations.
Congratulations, everybody. And Jeremy, back to you.
It's been another great competition this year. I really enjoyed the presentations, and I'm going to attempt to try and take through my day today 10%, if I can, of Adrian's enthusiasm to carry me through to the end of the day. Now I was neglectful in my opening remarks with one of the main value propositions of today's event, so I suspect if I was presenting, the judges would be pretty harsh on me. There's a prize that you are all competing for today of $7,500 for first prize, and a $2,500 second prize of consulting services from Deloitte. So my apologies for not getting that in the opening comments, and I think that's incredible. I want to thank our moderator today. Nikki did a great job. Thank you very much for keeping us on time and working together with us to put this together. We want to thank Omers for their sponsorship of this theater. And we also want to thank our esteemed panel of judges. If everybody could give them a round of applause along with our moderator. Thank you very much for being so giving of your time and your comments. We really appreciate it. And my friend Trish is going to help me as a small token of our gratitude for your participation today. We'd like to give you a little parting gift, all of you. And just while that's going on, I'm going to let you know the competition winner will be announced today at lunch. So that's something to keep in mind for lunch today. And as well, the entire presentation has been taped and will be available later on the Discovery website. And if you want to remain in this theater, the panel discussion, APP Revolution, Consumer or Corporate, where is the new gold rush and where will it begin? It will begin at 11 a.m. This discussion will explore the hottest Canadian mobile trends, apps, tablets, and what's driving the new Canadian developers to build mobile-focused startups. So thank you again, and enjoy the rest of Discovery 2011.